Welcome to Speak English with Energy.
Hey there, I'm Victor. Welcome to Speak English with Energy.
And I'm Lisa. Today we're talking about interviews and what to say when you don't understand the interviewer.
You know, it's happened to all of us at some point. We're in a conversation or an interview. And suddenly, we find ourselves lost, not understanding what's being asked of us.
It can be really stressful, especially if you're not a native English speaker. I remember being in a meeting where I just nodded and smiled, but had no idea what was going on. It wasn't until later that I realized I'd completely missed the point of the discussion.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to know how to handle these situations. So, in this episode, we'll be sharing some tips and phrases to help you navigate those tough moments.
We'll give you the confidence to speak up and ask for clarification without feeling embarrassed or awkward.
So let's dive in and explore what to say when you don't understand the interviewer, shall we? I had a similar experience in a job interview once. I was so nervous that I didn't catch a key question. And I just nodded along, pretending I understood.
That can be really tough, especially in high-pressure situations.
It wasn't until after the interview that I realized my mistake. The interviewer had asked about a specific skill set, and I had no idea what they were talking about.
Oh no, that sounds really frustrating. Did you end up getting the job, or was that a deal breaker?
Luckily, I didn't get the job, so I learned from the experience. And now I make sure to ask for clarification when I'm unsure.
That's such a great takeaway, and it's something we can all learn from. So, what are some phrases we can use to ask for clarification?
We'll get into that in just a minute, with some really useful examples. One common misconception is that asking for clarification makes you look unsure.
But isn't that better than pretending to understand and risking a wrong answer?
Exactly. And I remember a situation where I didn't ask for clarification. I was in an interview, and the interviewer asked me a question with a term I'd never heard before. I tried to answer based on the context, but I was completely off the mark.
Oh no, that sounds really tough. What happened next?
Well, the interviewer politely corrected me and explained the term. It was a bit embarrassing, but it was also a valuable learning experience.
I can imagine. It takes a lot of courage to admit when we don't know something.
And that's why it's so important to have phrases to ask for clarification politely.
Like what? Can you give us some examples?
Sure, for instance, you could say, "Could you explain that in more detail?"
That's really helpful. What if the interviewer is in a rush, though?
In that case, you could say, "Just to make sure I understand, could you give me a brief example?"
I like that idea. A brief example can really help clarify things.
Exactly, and it shows you're interested in understanding the question.
That makes sense. So, what's a common mistake people make in this situation?
Well, one mistake is to pretend you understand when you don't. This can lead to more confusion later on, and even hurt your chances of getting the job.
Oh, that's a great point. I've seen that happen before. It's better to be honest and ask for clarification, even if it feels uncomfortable.
Absolutely. And it's something we can all practice in our daily conversations. For example, you could say, "I'm not sure I understand. Can you explain it another way?"
I like that, it's simple and straightforward. And it gives the other person a chance to clarify without feeling like they're being questioned.
Exactly. It's all about being clear and respectful in your communication. So, this week, try using one of these phrases in a conversation and see how it goes.
And don't forget to share your experiences with us on social media. We'd love to hear about it.
Let me give you another example of using these phrases. I was in a meeting last week and didn't understand a term. So, I asked my colleague to explain it again, and it really helped.
That's really brave, Victor, and it shows how valuable it is. I'm sure our listeners have experienced similar situations.
Absolutely, and that's why we want to encourage them to speak up. By speaking up, they can avoid misunderstandings and get more out of conversations.
Can you think of a time when not speaking up led to a problem?
Well, I recall a project where we didn't clarify expectations. It ended up causing delays and extra work, which could have been avoided. Now, let's recap the 3 main points from today's conversation.
We talked about asking for clarification, repeating what you've understood, and saying you need a moment to think.
Exactly, and one key takeaway is to always prioritize understanding over trying to give a perfect answer.
I think that's really important because it shows you're engaged and care about the conversation.
So, our actionable tip for this week is to practice using phrases like, "Can you explain that again?" in your daily conversations.
That's a great tip, Victor, and it's something our listeners can start doing right away.
By doing so, you'll become more comfortable with communicating effectively, even when you're not sure about something. And that confidence will carry over into all areas of your life, including job interviews and important meetings.
I completely agree, and I think our listeners will really benefit from putting this into practice.
Well, it's been great chatting with you all today, and we're so grateful for your support.
Goodbye, and see you next time on Speak English with Energy.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep speaking English with energy. See you in the next episode.